Okay. So the as I get into this, I want to make sure I covered everything. What I'm going to be covering today is going to be really warning signs, things to be on the lookout for as you visit within their home or if they come to yours. Okay. I'm going to break it down to different categories. It's going to kind of be a checklist of sorts. All right. If you have questions, put them in the comment bar or in the question box, and I'll be happy to answer them later on. But first, before I get into that checklist of sorts, what I want to cover from a continuum perspective, our practice is greatly focused on care issues. It's just not the documents and the dollars, as I share with folks. We spend a lot of time making sure that our clients are cared for, getting the best care possible. And one of the tools that we use to ensure that is what we call an elder care continuum. And what you see on the screen now is this elder care continuum. Primarily today, what we'll be talking about is kind of the top portion there. Um, it's four different levels. What it talks about is your health, it talks about your residence, it talks about the costs of care, and then it talks about the resources that are available as somebody travels down the continuum. You'll see all the way on the left, and the left is where you want to stay. On the left, there is no cognitive or functional decline or limitation. And underneath that, you're living at home. Underneath that, the cost is zero. Slide a little bit to the right down the continuum, and you see a gentleman with a cane. There's a limited function. Uh, Physically, there's a limited function. Of course, there could also be a slight cognitive decline as well. The next step is a walker. The next step is a scooter. The next step is a wheelchair. um, there is a decline, a gradual decline, hopefully not a precipitous decline, that our loved ones and ourselves will go through as aging occurs, as issues and illnesses, of course, occur to us. The goal is going to be to stay ahead of that curve so that you are prepared and able to help, and able to be helped if you're the one in that circumstance. Okay. So we'll be talking about really those that are on the left side of the continuum today, those that have been fine with no physical limitations, no cognitive declines, but then you're visiting for the holidays, you're visiting on a Sunday, and you're starting to notice, what to be on the lookout for. Okay. So that's the purpose of today. Okay. So first tip, what we're going to focus on are the physical, what you're going to see physically with your loved one, with your older parent. And the word I just used on the continuum slide, of course, was functional. Functional needs are generally going to be our activities of daily living. They're a little bit more on the obvious side. Okay. Activities of daily living to be on the lookout for. How is my parent walking, bathing, toileting, dressing, grooming? Those are the activities of daily living. There's, of course, several others. But when there is a need with those types of functional limits, that's when it's time. That's when long term care starts. Okay. And again, today we'll be focusing on just before that period, things to look out for. Be on the lookout physically as to mobility. How are they walking? Is it a shuffle? Is it an even, steady gait as it's always been? Something else to be on the lookout for is how are they, what device are they using or are they needing? A cane versus a walker. You'll notice as your loved one is walking through the house or coming to walk up to the front door. Is there a balance issue? Are there stability issues? Is there a shuffling issue? Is the cane sufficient? Should it be a walker? Should it be a wheelchair? All things to be aware of. In addition, I had a client tell me this a couple of years ago, and it's it's a reality. This concept of wall surfing, and you've seen it. It's when you have your loved one who is walking down the hallway like this, or leaning up against the door like that. It's called wall surfing, and if that's happening, then there's a need for some type of intervention. Okay. Um, Something else on the physical side, you want to talk about doctor visits. When was the last time they were at a doctor? You want to ask what type of doctor, what were the results of that? With all of that being said, There has to be an underlying theme of respect, of honor, of understanding what mom and dad is going through, or may or may not be going through. Certainly, disrespectful questions, certainly condescending discussions, they don't work. It's going to shut down the conversation before it even begins. So you want to have a flowing conversation as to health, as to mobility, as to walking, as to recent doctor visits. All right, just different discussion points. In addition, to be aware of what's called the IADLs. On the physical side, this is the incidental activities of daily living. So the ADLs are the major ones, the walking, the bathing, the toileting. The IADLs, all right, that's going to be shopping. That's going to be cooking, managing their prescriptions, using the phone properly, housework, all right, laundry, driving, paying their bills. Um, are there any challenges with these daily tasks that they should be undertaking? Okay, so these incidental activities of daily living, or IADLs, all fall into this category of how are they doing physically? What are they able to do physically? Okay, so be on the lookout for those physical warning signs. Secondly, second tip, of course, is going to be financial. Okay, what we're going to be looking at here is, and again, with grace, with respect, looking at the financial situation, not just opening up the drawer and taking out the checkbook, but through conversation, through relationship, having the discussion. Are they paying their bills on time? Okay, and you can see that through bank records. You can see that through the financial statements. You can see that through, of course, just like for ourselves, are there late fees and late charges? Are there penalties? Paying their bills on time is a good sign. If they're not paying their bills on time, then perhaps it is time to perhaps try to insert and become involved, to help with those types of things. Another point is literally reviewing the checkbook or the online statements. A lot of our clients, in a trusting relationship with their parent, have access to the online accounts, or they're joint on the accounts. The purpose you want to do this, the purpose why you want to do this, is you want to look out for not only the bills on time, but you want to look out for, are there any large withdrawals? Are there any consistent withdrawals? Is there any perceivable fraud, all right, undertaken? Are there checks to different charities? If I had $1 for every client that unfortunately has been had taken advantage of, with financial fraud and financial elder abuse, it's a shame, and it happens more than you think. Withdrawals and transferring money at Western Union, writing checks to charities. Some charities, not all of them, some of them start sending more and more, of their money requests, donation requests, because they know that they're getting a check each time. So keep an eye out as to how many times a year is this charity getting a donation. Look for those red flags. All right. Fraud, and I was just mentioning withdrawals. We've had one gentleman we were helping in the Queens area. There was $200, $400, $600 at a time being withdrawn from ATMs in the middle of the night in Manhattan. That's not the client. That wasn't him doing it. It was the aide who had the debit card. So be on the lookout for those types of transactions. Okay. Financially, health coverage also comes into play. Does mom or dad have the appropriate health insurance? Do they have Medicare A and Medicare B? Do they have a pharmacy plan? Do they have a supplemental plan, such as a Medigap or a Medicare supplement, typically through AARP, for example? The supplemental plans can be worth their weight in gold. As an example, some of the supplemental plans, N and F, for example, C, one of them has faded away, but C, F, and N were the three that we would recommend to clients. And of course, they would go talk to a Medicare specialist to help them. But where we see the biggest benefit from supplemental plans and having the right plan is if there's ever a stay in a rehabilitation facility. Okay, so the first 20 days in a rehab, that is going to be paid for in full by Medicare, as long as there was a transfer, of course, from a hospital stay prior. And then there's going to be a daily copayment of about $175, $178 a day going on from day 21 through day 100. That's about $5,000 a month out of pocket for a rehab stay. If you have the right supplemental plan, it'll pay for that. Okay. In addition, a lot of our folks have what are called Medicare Advantage plans. That's an HMO or a EPO or a PPO, where a private insurance company like Empire, for example, can consolidate the Medicare A, the Medicare B, the prescription coverage, and the supplemental coverage all into one plan. Generally, the way I describe it, and it's not for all of them, but the way I describe it is those advantage plans are very broad in coverage, but not necessarily very deep. Okay, they're not very robust. Traditional Medicare A and B, and a pharmaceutical plan, and a supplemental plan that has the rehab coverage is typically the best way to go. But depending on your needs, depending on your financial abilities, the advantage plans can also be a benefit. Okay, so these are the things to look out for on the financial side. Now, the third tip: yes, mental capacity. You knew we'd be talking about this type of a concern when we're talking about potential elder care issues. Things to be on the lookout for: memory concerns, forgetfulness, and it takes me sometimes a while to remember different words or different names. And of course, that happens to my parents, it happens to our relatives, and I'm sure it happens in your family as well. There's a difference between just not remembering a name and actual forgetfulness. So be on the lookout for that. In addition, there's short-term memory loss and long-term memory loss. The pretty self-explanatory. Short-term memory loss, those are the ones though we see as different capacity issues start to arise. Not recalling what you had for breakfast, not remembering you just called your son Stephen once, twice, three times. Those type of short-term memory concerns can be a significant red flag. Okay, as well as misplacing items. Yes, you hear about I forgot the keys, I lost the keys, but it can be greater than that. Where's the checkbook? Where's the car? Coming out of the mall, not able to find the car. Have heard stories like that several times before. Different things to be on the lookout for. Has there been a change in your loved one's reasoning? Have they become a little more obstinate? Have they become a little more stubborn? Have they not processed? Are they not processing the conversation like they used to? Okay. All red flags. Is the processing a little bit slower? Is it taking mom a little bit longer to understand what you're saying? Do you have to explain things a little bit more? Be on the lookout for this if you are going to be seeing your folks for Thanksgiving next week. As those conversations are bouncing around the room, are they following the conversation? Okay, are they understanding? Are they contributing? Um, are they repeating what you're saying because they're thinking of what else to say? All right, that's somewhat of a compensation that they do to think of something else or to try to recognize what the phrase or the wording actually means. Attention span. Is your loved one able to follow a whole conversation? Are they able to, like they used to? Are they able to sit through a movie or a discussion with the fifth grader? Different things. You want to compare what's going on now with how it used to be. And again, gently start to bring up discussions about different ways to handle what's going on, or doctor visits or medications. Okay. Losing a sense of time. There is a part of us that can, over time, lose the time spatiality there. What you're looking at is going to the mall, I'll be back in an hour, and they're back 3 or 4 hours later. Going for a walk to the post office, and they were gone for 2 minutes because they thought they went, and they actually didn't. Be on the lookout for timing issues. Is there the same ability to solve problems? Playing cards on the holidays with the grandkids, are they still able to undertake that process? Are they still enjoying that time? Are they getting frustrated because it's not as smooth or they're not as good as they used to be? All right. Next tip to be aware of is if you're going to their home, okay? Um, One of the obvious indicators of a need for help is if you're seeing the mail all piled up by the front door, okay, or the mailbox itself. Are they not are they not tending to their bills? Are they not addressing the and throwing away the junk mail? Are they not walking to the street anymore to empty the mailbox? Mail is an easy indicator as to what's going on. Prescriptions. Go, if you're in their house, go into their kitchen, go into the bathroom, wherever they keep their prescriptions, and take a look. Are there duplicate bottles? Are there expired medications? Are there full bottles that should have been used? That means they're not taking them. All right, you can learn a lot from these 2 points here. Clutter. Is the house safe? I'm not talking about hoarding necessarily. That's an obvious concern, but just clutter piling up. I've been in homes where you have the little goat path. That again is hoarding, and there are things that need to get done, and help that can be offered in those types of circumstances. But do you got piles of papers? Do you got we used to get the phone books. Are those piled up? Is the laundry piling up? Is the sink full of dishes? Different things to look at. Okay, utensils, are they in their proper drawers? Okay, different things that you took for granted in the past, but maybe it's a red flag now. For safety, you always want to look, if there's any type of walking concern or if that's starting to develop. Area rugs, some of the worst things you can have in the house because it's very, very easy to trip on the area rugs. Carpeting is better, smooth floors are better, but be mindful of area rugs. It's one of the things our when we come in to help a family with these types of issues, one of my advocates, our care coordinators, will go into the house and perform this type of an environmental assessment. At least they used to before COVID, but it's something that needs to get done to make sure the house is safe, and we're minimizing fall hazards and tripping risks. Doorways. If there is a narrow doorway to a bathroom, those are going to be smaller and narrower than the hallway entrances. Is there a wheelchair? Are they able to bring the wheelchair into the bathroom if necessary? You got to look at those doorways and how wide they are. Are the stairs clean? And are the railings adhered strong? Are they attached well to the wall itself? You can have, I'm not going to talk my own my own parents or my own house, but I'm sure we all stack things on the stairs until we bring them upstairs, right? If they're not going upstairs as often as they used to, then yes, you can have shoes, you can have a fan, you can have books, you can have puzzles. It's not safe for those to be on the stairs. So take a look at the staircase. Railings, going up the stairs, you got a railing there. I've seen clients pull themselves up on on the railing, just like the wall surfing. The one client I saw last time I saw this was 2 years ago, almost rips the railing out of the wall. And if he does, guess what? He's either going back a flight of stairs or going over. So you want to make sure the railings are strong and affixed properly. Okay. If not, get a handyman in there to do that. Bathroom safety. We've always been taught the bathroom is the most dangerous place in the house, and that does not change as our folks get older. You've got your tile, you've got your corners on the sinks, you've got your tub. You want to make sure there's the proper sticky mat in the tub if they're still utilizing the shower. Be careful of the area rug. All right. So again, different handymen and contractors can help with those types of issues. You're looking at railings within the shower. You're looking at that are properly adhered to the wall, not just drilled into the tile. You need plywood behind each of those screws and bolts so that if they are falling and they grab the actual railing or grab the bar, they're not ripping it out of the wall and still tumbling down. There are certain seats and different mechanisms that can actually help a senior to bathe while sitting safely, swing in and out of the tub. Okay, there's a lot of options out there. Look for solid companies, experienced companies that have been around for a while that do that for a living. Food Is there food in the refrigerator? Is there food in the freezer? Okay, is it spoiled? Are there leftovers there forever? Is the butter covered? Has that been there for weeks? Take a look at what's in the refrigerator, what's in the freezer. If they have a second one in the garage or downstairs, take a look at that as well. Okay. Utilities, obvious. You want to make sure that the heat is working. You want to make sure that the lights are working. Okay. You have electric and heat in the house, of course, the water too, and specifically light bulbs. Whether you're talking about in the bedroom, you're talking about in closets, you're talking about the attic, the second floor, third floor. If they're still going there, the basement, make sure those light bulbs are still working. All right. And if they're pulling the string or flipping the switch, that it's still turning on and turning off, so that if they go down those stairs or into the garage, it'll be as safe as possible for them. Okay. Something else to look out for. Excuse me. All right. Now, the fifth tip when meeting with or visiting your older folks, um, how does mom look? How does dad look when you see them? What's the appearance? Um, if you've been seeing them regularly, it may be a gradual change or shift, and you may not notice it. But if you haven't seen them in a couple of months because of the lockdown and pandemic and so forth, are they wearing the appropriate outfit? Are they wearing the appropriate clothes? Two examples: I've had clients, um, pajama pants and then slacks and then underwear on top. There's an obvious concern there. I've had clients show up. Sweet lady came here middle of the summer with a Christmas sweater on. Okay, so you have a concern there as to appropriate wear. It was summer, so there was no need for a sweater, and it wasn't the right holiday season. Not the end of the world, but just different things to look out for. Hygiene. Okay, personal issues. There's bathing. There's toileting. There's the bathroom itself as to cleanliness and s- there's the smell test. All right. There's no other way to put it. You want to be aware of what's going on in the house, what's going on with your mom or your dad, respectfully. All right. And you want to handle that. You want to address it, or at least start researching it, or talking to the doctor, talking to, for example, my advocates here. They're social workers. They're board certified advocates. They know how to address these types of concerns. Um, is the hair groomed? All right. Is it clean? Has it been washed? How are the nails, the fingernails? Not that you'll necessarily see the toenails. Are they maintaining them like they used to? Teeth, very important. Are they still brushing, or the dentures? Are they fitting? All right. Watch as they're talking. Um, Certainly something you can help with if you can get them to the proper company or dentist to care for that. Socks and shoes, not just are they wearing them, but are they the right socks and shoes? It could just be a color issue. It could be a vision issue, or a forgetfulness issue, in that they're not wearing they're not wearing socks at all, or they're wearing the wrong shoes at the wrong time of year. Okay, again, stuff to add to your checklist when visiting with your folks. Sixth tip: speech. How are they actually communicating? Are they speaking clearly? Is it just the dentures that I mentioned a moment ago, or has something occurred which they may not know, or you may not know? Has there been some type of an incident, some type of strokes and different types of issues, that medical concerns, medical events that can happen, that can impact it, that they may not be aware of? Okay, so be on the lookout for speaking clearly. Is your loved one searching for words, not just forgetting a name like I mentioned before, but just can't grasp the word? Okay, um, are they understandable? An extreme case is that, I of course have seen clients, or children have brought clients in with a lot of mumbling, or gibberish, as they say. Obviously, that's a concern, and there's an advanced diagnosis there, but you don't want it to ever get there before you step in and start to help. Is there any type of slurring as they're speaking? All right. And we've had clients do that, where the son went to go visit, and next thing you know, dad's slurring. What happened? Get him to the ER. Okay. Are they coherent and understanding? Okay. Again, perhaps an obvious one, but You want to make sure they're understanding and have the capacity to interact and understand what the discussions or what, again, the holiday talk is about. Seventh tip is going to be social. Okay. Does mom or dad still see their friends? Do they have friends? Okay. Is there no desire to see them? All right. That's where I'm going with this. How are they doing socially? Um, Especially this year with the pandemic. One of the reasons I love assisted livings in certain circumstances. They're not for everybody, but they're in certain circumstances, assisted livings are a home run, is there's going to be that social aspect. Okay. So that is a needed aspect. We need it as we're growing up, we need it as we're adults, and of course, we need it when we're older. Is family visiting. Okay. Sometimes there's dysfunction in the family and the children aren't involved. Okay. Is there a spouse there? Are there siblings, okay, that are visiting or that are communicating, that are checking in? Are they still attending religious services? Again, difficult during the pandemic with the shutdown, but there's a lot online. There's internet. There's different ways that they can still connect with their faith community, and you want to make sure that's still happening. They may not be saying it, but it's important to them. Okay, so if you can help facilitate that, then do what you can. Are they involved with community events? All right. Again, not to keep repeating myself, but there's less than there were. Okay. But are they walking through town? Is there something happening, with, I grew up in Malvern where they do this beautiful lighting and they light the chestnuts and they have the music and the nativity scenes all in December. Whether they do that this year, I don't know. But something like that, is there an interest? Are they going to see that type of an event? Are they participating? Or are they alone in their home? Loneliness is a significant issue. It can lead to tremendous decline. It can lead to, well, here we go. It can lead to the other points that I'm going to talk about. It can lead to emotional concerns. Um, you don't want to be alone, and they, trust me, don't want to necessarily be alone either. Okay. Emotionally, when you visit with them and relate to them, look for personality changes. All right. Um, are they as patient? Are they as sincere? Are they as empathetic as they were? Um, what's the outlook on life? Is everything negative? Is everything the end is near? Or are they looking forward to the holidays and the family and the spring and getting out around the block again? You get a sense for that as you're communicating with mom or dad. What's their outlook? Um, are they grumpy old men? Are they irritable? Um, are they depressed? Okay, a real serious concern. Is there an anxiousness there? Um, we had a client here the other day. Just anxiety has overtaken them, and there is certain things that we're going to try to help with. The family's trying to help. There's medication issues. There's caregiver issues, and Lord willing, it'll all get settled over time. But depression and anxiety, again, loneliness, it all stems from different issues and concerns that perhaps can be addressed. Okay. And, I didn't really even bring it up in here, but sleep. Okay. A very important issue is sleep. What are they eating? What are they eating? Are they eating Twinkies all day, double dogs? Are they eating nutritious food? Are they sleeping as much as they can? And I don't mean just sitting in the chair. All right. That's two topics I got to add to this one for next time: sleeping and eating. Um, Again, ties into what's in the refrigerator. Okay. Um, I've had clients where they're not able to get to the bedroom because the bed is covered with debris. The bed is covered with other items and they can't sleep on it. So they sleep in the living room. Take a look at the bedroom. All right. In addition to the bathroom and the basement and the kitchen. All right. So get into the house and respectfully take a look around. Ninth issue. All right. So that's my checklist there. Now, as you see those things occurring, what do you do then? Well, that's when you start planning. Okay. Yes, there's different types of planning, but what I'm going to talk about as an elder care attorney is going to be estate planning, is going to be asset protection. And finally, it's going to be about providing the care when that time arises. Now, what does estate planning mean? For the purposes of today, it means a very comprehensive, durable, modified power of attorney. If you start to see decline, okay, You want to make sure you sit with somebody like ourselves that deals with elder care issues every single day of the week, and we can prepare the right estate plan for them. Okay. I don't mean go to the real estate attorney. I don't mean go to the realtor down the block or just talk to your son in law because, he went to law school. These are serious issues. We're talking about your mom and your dad, and you want the best for them so that not only are they taken care of, but that you're able to help when and as needed down the road. Okay. A typical estate plan is going to be a last will and testament. It's going to be a very comprehensive power of attorney. It's going to be a healthcare proxy for healthcare decisions. And it might even be a living will for end of life concerns and discussions. You don't want LegalZoom. You don't want Staples forms. You don't want Susie Ormond's forms. You want to sit down face to face with an experienced, even certified elder law attorney like ourselves so that we can get the right plan. Depending on age, depending on health, depending on cognitive decline, you also want to start protecting assets, the second bullet point there. That's when we're starting to look forward toward looking ahead toward long-term care and possibly Medicaid as the program to pay for the care. As I've been talking about for months, the home care Medicaid program is going under drastic changes, and we have up until April 1st. We literally have 4 months before we can get planning, protection, and apply for benefits before the changes occur. So asset protection is typically undertaken with an irrevocable trust. Not always, but that's the usual flexible tool that we use. Okay. The final point is actually providing the care. What you're looking at there is, as I explained to people, yes, we have that formal care continuum you saw in the beginning there, but care takes different steps. Okay. And initially, it's a spouse helping their loved one, all right, helping the husband or helping the wife. Then perhaps children are chipping in and helping and stopping by. Then the next step, perhaps a neighbor is. The next step, perhaps it's somebody in the community or somebody from the synagogue or the church that's helping out. Then maybe it's time to hire somebody. When you hire somebody, a lot of folks find somebody through word of mouth and pay them cash. That could be a good band-aid, but it's not ideal. There's no insurance coverage, there's no certifications, there's no background checks, but it is what a lot of families do. And eventually end up hiring an agency. It can be a companion agency, which is somebody there to drive on errands or to help with activities in the house. A companion is not allowed to actually touch your loved one, though, if God forbid they fall. They're not allowed to help them off the toilet if needed. That companion is there to be a companion. If there are physical needs, like I mentioned in the very beginning with those ADLs, the activities of daily living, that's what's called a personal care aid. Okay, that can get very expensive. Therefore, Medicaid comes in to help out after we've accomplished eligibility and had an approved application. Okay, all the while having the appropriate advocates assisting and advocating and making sure your loved one gets the best care possible. That's how we do it over here. Okay, it's the whole Megillah. It's the legal, it's the financial, and the care. Now, we typically want families to do this late 60s, early 70s. If you're visiting with your loved ones during the holidays and they're over 70, get this stuff done. Okay, again, with somebody that knows what they're doing. The 10th and final tip for today. Now what? Well, the way I wanted to wrap this up for you is because I can tend to be a perfectionist. And for people like myself, there is this thing called paralysis by analysis, meaning we just think about it and think about it and think about it and don't do anything about it. It's a bad habit. And those of us that are like that, you got to break through it every day and take action and accomplish things. So the concern I have here is that individuals, children, are going to be worried about doing something only if they can get it right. And that is not possible. All right. Just like your parents raised you, they didn't get everything right, did they? They didn't. All right. Did they get everything wrong? Probably not. They did some good things and they did the right job. What I'm getting at here is you're going to want to take action to help your mom and dad, to help your loved one. Just do your best. get involved, help out as much as you can respectfully. Start the conversations. It may not even happen at the Thanksgiving table. Maybe you call the next day. All right. You don't want to have things blow up at the table. Maybe you talk to them the following weekend. Just to start nice conversation and sincere conversation. That's what's going to open up and allow the information to flow. But just do your best when you're visiting with your older parents. Okay. I hope you found this to be helpful. Um, if you have any questions, please put them into the comment box. I'll be happy to answer them. As I've said before, you can catch our prior webinars online, tullyelderlaw.com, Facebook, Instagram. Believe it or not, lawyers are on Instagram. Tully Law Group PC, Facebook and Instagram. TullyElderlaw.com. Be happy to help you if we can. And thank you for joining us. Let me check those questions now. Where are we? All right. Any questions, folks? It's not a typical kind of conversation talking about powers of attorneys and trusts, but if you have any questions, anyone, let's see here. Very good. All right. Doesn't look like there's any questions today. All right. Thank you very much for the compliment there, Steve. It was a pleasure. Happy holidays. Happy Thanksgiving. And be safe. Bye-bye.